Good afternoon. Welcome to Wayne's World Wealth Building. Hopefully, we're going to continue with a few more of the 10 income commandments, but because of all the discussion about inflation, and for many of you, first time you've experienced something like this, some people were around in the early 80s when we had even a more severe inflationary problem. I thought it might be good not just to look at the economic foundation of real estate investing, the economic foundation of how to get through the next 18 months with real estate investing as the primary focus. But there are basically four other main focuses to look at as you plan a strategy to move toward a financial freedom in a time when other people might be struggling to pay more for the same things they were buying 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12 months ago. Simple concept, fact of life. Inflation, by its definition, is too many dollars chasing too few goods. Too many dollars chasing too few goods. Basically, what we're simply saying is it's the fact that we put a lot of money out into the system for whatever reason, and there are no ways to, I guess you'd say, combat or counteract it by people producing things. We are not producing, hence we are inflating the economy. So what somebody bought for $1 last year might cost $1.40 this year, or $1.30, or $1.20. But it's surely up a tremendous percent, the highest we've seen in the last 40 years. So how do you inflation-proof your life in the next 18 months? Hard assets. The foundation of being able to be receiving wealth during this time by building assets that are increasing in value are hard assets. Money is not a hard asset. Holding on to money is probably almost worthless because the dollar is worth less and less and less during inflationary times. We have what's called a consumer price index. It says right now we're at 8 to 9% growth. That's overall. In some market it's worse, in some market it's better. Some of you in real estate know that prices have gone up much higher than 8 or 9% in your market area. We have some areas looking at double digits, 30%, 20%, 40%. We're still seeing tons of multiple offers. We're still seeing a lot of people in bidding wars because they have a lot of money, and money is still relatively cheap. Even though interest rates jump up to 5, 6, 7%, maybe 8%, it doesn't mean that the money system dries up. There's still a lot of money out there. The Fed is trying, by putting in controls through their open market committee, of going out and possibly raising interest rates by 1/4 of a basis point again. They just did it last week. They probably will do it again. They anticipate 5 to 8 increases. For every 4 increases, if it impacts mortgage interest directly, which it may not, but if it does in the long run, that means a borrower loses 11% of their buying power. So what do I need to do now? I look at the prices today of the basic hard assets: gold, silver, diamonds, real estate, and non-perishable food storage. And that's the cute one, because some of you already know you wish you would have bought a few more cans of soup, or a few more jars of peanut butter, or a few more packages of cereal, because the price went up drastically. I've watched a box of cereal that I enjoy go from $3.99 to $7.29 in the last 2 months. Same box of cereal, $3.99 to $7.29. That means I have to work a lot extra just to be able to buy that same box of cereal. We've seen other things happen. So right now, do yourself a favor. When we're done today, take a look at the historical price of gold, let's say a year ago. Look at it today. Look at some of the projections. Gold is approaching $2,000 an ounce. Diamonds are up nearly 40%. Silver, somewhat steady, but slowly rising because it's used for so many commercial ventures. It's more of a stable growth pattern, but it's still a growth pattern. Real estate, tremendous amount of price increase. And obviously, food storage and non-perishable items that you could store could be a huge, huge difference. Now, With that said, that becomes the foundation. How am I going to use the hard assets to hold on to wealth and watch it appreciate because of inflation? Because inflation creates rising prices. So we don't know if gold will be up a lot more than 2,000 an ounce a year from now, or if diamonds will grow up even more than 40%. But we do know they will hold their value. They will continue to be a hedge against inflation. Saving money is not a hedge against inflation. Saving money is basically losing money. Unless you're getting 8 to 9% on your return, and very few people saving money, SAVINGS, will get 8 to 9% in the last year. Saving money, SAFEING, is money you set aside just in case an emergency pops up, an opportunity pops up, you're able to buy something, acquire something, or transfer wealth to you from somebody else who has to sell something, whether it's their car, whether it's some furniture, whether it's some artwork. So some people are saving money to use to make some purchases. Saving money does not have to be a lot of money. It's kind of a cushion. Some people don't even save that way. They have an equity line of credit. They know they can access money if they need for a safety reason. While we're on that topic, credit is a power tool in the consumer workshop. It's one of the INCOME-MANDMENTS of wealth building. If you have credit cards, look at your options. Many of you must get several invitations on a monthly basis to get a 0% balance transfer, oftentimes for 12 to 15 months. Most of the time from 2 to 4% for a balance transfer fee, which means I can control $10,000 for 2 to 3% and have 15 months to pay it back. So obviously, I'm not losing money if I'm borrowing at 2 to 3%, costed over 15 months. But I am losing money if I'm borrowing on my credit cards at 10, 12, 15, 18, 20, or even more percent in the process. But if I have that cushion that I can grab for just 1 or 2%, my savings account may be very small. Obviously, I like to also look for ways to reduce my taxes as part of my outflow of money. If I pay less taxes, I have more money to consume. If I have more money to consume, at least I can take care of my needs for my family. So the foundation of all opportunities for the next 12 to 18 months is looking at hard assets, assets that are, quote, inflation proof. Holding on to money is not a hard asset. Money needs to be moved around. There's actually a concept in economics called the velocity of money. How fast does money move around? Some people's money moves around very fast. Other people move their money around very slow. With that said, let's look at the concept of making sure the wealth is transferring to you instead of from you. You learn to be the transferee instead of the transferor, i.e., non-perishable food storage. There might be a very great loss leader or special at one store. Can you take advantage of it? Example, I like Progresso soup. Doesn't mean it's the best soup, but I prefer it over Campbell's, prefer it over other brands. So I can buy a can of Progresso soup almost any day for $2.69. Maybe a bit lower, but usually over $2. But every so often, and it happened about 6 months ago, it was on sale at my local grocery store for 99 cents. I said, gee, how much soup will I eat in the next 6 months? And so if I buy it for 99 cents instead of $2.69, I'm saving $1.70. So because I have a place to store, I bought basically about 80 cans of soup at 99 cents instead of 80 cans of soup at $2.69. And now, because of inflation happening, now it hardly ever goes down. It may not go down because prices are rising across the board. But at least I saved a lot of money by using food storage. Some people do it with paper towels. Some people do it with other canned goods. Some people do it with cereal. If there's a long shelf life, that $1.79 box of cereal that's now $3.29 makes a big difference. And here's the key. Anytime you save money by buying things at a better price, that's tax-free income. You couple that with store specials, with manufacturers' coupons, with other unique ways of joining clubs at the stores that allow you to get reduced prices for special deals, whether it's groceries or pharmacy issues like CVS or Walgreens. You start to really make that process unfold. Obviously, paying for it with a credit card allows you to transfer wealth, but not have to pay for it right away. So, leaving that mindset alone, let's look at how do I use the credit card. I would hope you use a credit card for almost everything you buy. Almost everything. All your bills, your utilities. I just paid an attorney's fee using my credit card. I just paid a glass company with a credit card. Sometimes somebody says, we'll give you a 4% discount if you don't use a credit card. Then I might use a PayPal transfer from my bank account because 4% is better than not getting 4%. But I also know that as I use that credit card, opportunities avail to get even better discounts, whether it's on gasoline, whether it's on groceries, whether it's on any type of things. The bottom line is I want to use my credit card for a number of reasons. The most important one is every month as I get a bill, if I pay as agreed, pay as agreed, pay as agreed, I'm not losing money by paying interest. So how do I avoid paying either lots of interest or any interest? Well, in Wayne's World, we look at the ability of accumulating several credit cards. Maybe it's 2, maybe it's 4, maybe it's 8. The key is to get different billing dates on each card. So let's assume it's the first today. Let's assume I have 6 cards. One is billing on the 1st, one is billing on the 7th, the 13th, the 20th, the 25th, and the 31st of each month. Now, today is the 1st. If tomorrow I need to make a purchase, could be an expensive purchase like a car repair. It could be just some good deal on stocking up on a lot of items at a store to buy 80 cans of soup. If I use the card that is having a billing date on the 6th, then what happens? On the 6th, I get that bill for all those things I bought from the 1st. Now, if I pay that in full, I pay no interest. The secret to using credit as a power tool is having several cards to be able to not have to pay interest because you paid that particular balance in full. That's the first step. Second step is that now I've got my bill on the 6th. That means I have till February 6th, I have till April 6th to pay that back without paying any interest on that card. 0 interest. I got 3-4 weeks to figure out how to make some extra money, maybe do some transferring, maybe who knows what I can do. But if I just would have used the card that had the billing date on the 1st and bought the stuff tomorrow, that credit card will not show as a bill until February 1st. When I get that bill on February 2nd, 3rd, or 4th, I've got till March, 3 months away. So I always have these time zones. So let's use today's example. It is April 1st. If I buy something on April 2nd, but use the card on April 1st, guess what happens? I don't get the bill till May. It's not due till June. I have nearly 2 months to work some extra hours, make some changes in my budget, find some way to come up with that extra money, whatever it is, to pay that balance down. So you're always trying to have credit cards that are available to use the day or 2 or 3 days after there was just a billing date. That allows you up to 60 days of using other people's money. And my whole focus, whether you're borrowing for a mortgage loan or taking a 0% car loan for 4 years is to use other people's money. And credit card companies would love you to use their money in the hopes that you won't pay it back on a regular basis. So credit as a power tool in transferring wealth says if you buy and don't pay in full, buy and don't pay in full, buy and don't pay in full, you're transferring wealth to the credit card company, depending on what your interest rate is. But if you buy and pay it off in full, buy and pay it off in full, buy and pay it off in full, then you're keeping the wealth and you could use that for something else. And if I can save some money like I did on all that soup, that's tax-free money. If I needed to pay an extra $1.70 a can for 80 cans of soup, that extra $100, I might have to work and earn $120. See, the key to building wealth is not being the transferee, the transferor. You want to be the transferee, the receiver of the wealth. With that said, we're back to gold, silver, diamonds, real estate, and food storage. Well, gold, silver, and diamonds, you probably have to pay in full for. Food, you can postpone like this, but you can't postpone it for long. Whereas real estate, the ideal investment, I can take somebody else's money and spread the cost out over all those years while the asset is increasing in value. See, of all the inflation-proof wealth building strategies that I've just mentioned, only real estate has a potential of being leveraged and prices going up to your advantage. Gold, you got to pay in full. Silver, you got to pay in full. Diamonds, you got to pay in full. They're going up in value. Food is not going up in value. You saved it by buying at a lower price. Real estate is the ideal way to transfer wealth in an inflation period of time. It's also an ideal way to transfer wealth in a recessionary period of time because you're going to get some great deals. Now, we're going to have a recession. We have inflation. We're going to have recession. We don't know when. We don't know how bad. Just like right now, we don't know how long inflation will be or how bad it will be. We do know that if history repeats itself, we've had a situation back in the 80s where we had inflation of 21% and unemployment of 10%. We had a misery index of 31%. Our misery index today, inflation plus unemployment, is not nearly that high. It's not even close. In fact, we just had some record job growth this last measurement time. They just announced we had, I think, 400,000 new jobs in this last period of time that they measured. So we're good on the unemployment problem right now. We're not good on the fact that people are not making enough stuff, but getting more money through government grants, gas cards, other ways in which they generate money for not producing. Those have to be, for whatever reason, if you believe that people deserve them or not, they are inflationary. They are inflationary. So, misconception. Owning your own home doesn't make you rich. Owning a home that you have a mortgage loan on while you're saving that money or investing that money is what's going to make a difference. Equity for some people is an ego trip. It's nice to know your home is paid in full, but now you own this asset that's earning you no return on your investment. Your home will appreciate in the next 3, 5, 7, 10, 15, 20 years if you owe nothing on it because you paid it in full, or you borrowed everything and owe 99% on it. You still get the appreciation over a period of time. As a real estate investment, not only do you get the appreciation, you have your tenant make monthly payments. I just shared a story in a seminar I did last night, and I asked this simple question. A couple came into the real estate office. They wanted to rent a home in my town because the school district was good for their kids. Their kids are going to be in school for a long time. They just started getting ready for school. So they got 12 years of school ahead of them with their youngest child, and I think 11 or 10 with the other oldest child, and they plan on having more children. So schools are important. They can't afford to buy. So told them to go look at some houses that were for sale, find the one they liked, see if we can work out the numbers. I will buy the house and they will become my tenants. And I think that's not a bad investment strategy to think about. Find people that are looking to rent when they come into your office and help them rent by finding something for sale that the numbers work for you and them. And now you've got a built-in tenant who is basically now possibly going to become a homeowner if they can buy this house or some other house. And the other tip or thought as you start this process is always give your tenants a rent with an option to buy. Let them have that potential American dream in the back of their head. And every month they pay rent, and every year they pay rent, they could be buying this property in the future with a rent with option to buy. And I will suggest strongly, in fact, I believe strongly, all of my properties are better taken care of if I give them a rent to own or rent with option to buy, because this could be their home. So they take care of it better. If they don't buy it, that's another whole story. We'll talk about that. But in the meantime, they now become my tenant. So I told those people, based on your need to be in the district, I'm going to give you an 8-year lease with an option to renew for another 7. So I asked the group last night, and I'll have you think about this as you're listening. Why would I offer these people an 8-year lease with an option to renew for 7? And my guess is because you realize 8 plus 7 is 15. And if you realize in Wayne's world, we like to use credit as a power tool, I built my purchase around a 15-year mortgage payment. Now we had to raise their rent from where it was. And if they want to do that, they can, and they chose to. So here it is, more than 15 years later, they bought that house for me. Owning your own home doesn't make you rich. Owning rental property makes you rich. Owning your own home doesn't make you rich. Owning rental property makes you rich. Because if you own your own home, you are paying down your mortgage loan. If you own rental property, your tenants are paying down your mortgage loan. Houses still appreciate. Houses still have equity buildup, but in your own home, you don't get a monthly check. In a rental property, they're giving you a monthly check. So here we are. We're looking at somebody who just bought me a house over 15 years. When they moved out, I was thinking I should give them a little check. They bought the house from me. This is amazing. So please, please, please feel the mindset, feel the feeling, feel the, I guess you'd say, success if I start having people buy houses for me because I rent homes to them. In the same respect, I might start buying my gold and silver. And if I look at this on a regular basis, or my diamonds, but gold's probably the easiest, a lot of people take this mindset right now and they start buying gold. And as the prices go up and they watch the market, if they think they're going to drop a little bit for some short-term reason, or something happens in the economy we can't control and gold prices drop temporarily in the short run, they bought it for $1,700, it went down to $1,600, they sold some of it. And they eventually keep selling off a little at a higher price, buying it back at a lower price, and eventually in the long-term strategy, they have all the gold or all the silver that didn't cost them a penny because they bought and sold, bought and sold, bought and sold. That's a different way of doing business. It takes much more time, much more effort, much more watching the market. But if I can buy it at $2,000 right now, and in 2 months it goes down to $1,600, I can buy more at $1,600 and sell some stuff I bought at $1,800. You keep playing the buy, sell, and keep accumulating to where now you bought the gold cheaper, you bought more gold. And pretty soon you have all the gold you started with, but you have no money out of pocket. It's all paid for. Now it just goes up in value. But we're more so importantly concerning ourselves with the fact that of all the hard assets, real estate is the ideal investment. And it's all based on the opportunity cost of holding money. If I have equity in my home, it's sitting there. If I have a chance to get a cash advance or a balance transfer and don't do it, it's just sitting there. That money is available to me and I'm not using it wisely. I've even seen some people today in this market become private lenders for other investors. They're willing to take some balance transfers out at 1 or 2% or 0% for 15 months and give somebody a down payment and they get that paid back at 5, 6, or 7%. That's another way of looking at how you can make money work for you. If I can buy the money at 1% or 2% or 3% through a balance transfer or home equity line of credit and sell it at 6, 7, or 8%, that's a pretty good spread. And that's all a bank does. They buy it low from savers and sell it higher to borrowers. Grandma gives them a CD at 1%. They turn on and give the grandkids a loan at 5%. It's a pretty good markup. Probably the biggest markup outside of jewelry and furniture is money. Banks pay very, very little to get the money, but they charge quite a bit for you to buy the money from them. That's a pretty good spread of profit. But there's an opportunity cost of holding money, especially in inflationary times. The longer you hold on to $1 in the next 18 months, the less it's going to be worth. You're welcome to track that starting today. Look at the value of the dollar today and look at the value of the dollar at 18 months. We already can see it from 2021 till 2022. How much more money does a person need to buy the same thing they bought a year ago? They said gas is up about $1 a gallon since last year. We know that milk is up. We know that fast foods are up. We know that almost everything has increased in value. And we know real estate has surely increased in value. So why are you holding on to money if you want to build wealth in an investment market? The money has to work for you versus you just working for the money. And you need to stir that money around and find ways that you can put your money in now, because the longer you hold on to money, the less worth it's going to have in what you can buy for it. Hence, we're back to my 5 components. With that said, we have to realize not just in real estate, but in other assets, equity can be an ego trip, but especially in real estate. I like to say I own my own house. That's fine. But do I also, because I'd like to say my first mortgage is paid off, but I'm using that money to make other investments. We laugh at people that put money under their mattress. That's kind of stupid. But what are you doing if you own your own home? Totally. Your money's sitting in the box. Your house increases in price whether you owe all of it or owe none of it. So equity can be an ego trip. It's a good feeling, and for some people, it's a forced savings plan. I believe those of you listening to this are way beyond needing a forced savings plan. You want to accelerate your growth so that you reap the benefits of a market that's inflationary right now and reap the markets in a year or two when we have a recessionary market. And again, in 5 years when there's an inflationary market, or 10 years when there's a recessionary market. We have inflation, we have recession. The wealth is going to transfer all the time. In addition to that, we have this mindset that I talked about, the misery index, the inflation-unemployment trade-off. If we see unemployment going down, 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 we're probably going to have up, up, up inflation. That's an economic concept. It's rather scary when they're both going up, and that's the problem we had back in the Carter era in the early 80s when we had that misery index. It was a miserable time to have 10, 11% unemployment and 20+% inflation. Inflation and unemployment should be trade-offs. And if you want inflation to come down, unemployment's going to have to go up. You can't have both. The only issue becomes if we're giving too many people too much money to be unemployed, then there's no incentive to go back to work. So now we've got no more goods and inflation doesn't go down as much as it really should. They're putting 1 million gallons, some ungodly amount of gasoline into the market every day for some reason. It's not going to make nearly the impact people feel it's going to make. It's not that much. Something, It's not that much. So take a moment, start calculating today, look at the inflation rate, look at the unemployment rate, and track it. Just track it every week, every month, if you don't want to do it every week. And look at what's happening. Is inflation going down and employment's going up? Or is employment going down and inflation's going up? That's an economic, powerful principle called the inflation-unemployment trade-off. If they both go the same way, definitely take a look at a different strategy for your wealth building. But in the long run, inflation will always benefit real estate. Somebody asked me last night in my seminar, do you flip homes? I said I never did flip homes. My goal was to buy an exit strategy to be able to have as much passive income as I could generate and have as little earned income as I could generate. I don't want to make a lot of income that I have to work for. I want to make a lot of income that money's working for me. And so my goal always was to put that in perspective. But at some point, there's nothing wrong with taking a flip or two flips or a couple of flips and making some instant money. But you've got higher taxes and a lot of other issues. So I'm not here to profess that flipping is the best strategy. It's a strategy, but it's very costly, especially today with higher cost of materials and labor. It's harder to make that profit work like you did 2 years ago. The cost of some of the construction materials is astronomical. The fact that there's less labor available, their prices are going up into areas that, wow, it's paying a lot of money per hour to have that tradesman do some work for me. And many of them are overworked. They are trying their best to get as many hours in. So we have all these extra costs that, to me, yes, flipping is fine, but flipping is much harder to turn the same kind of profit you did, 2 years ago, a year ago, whatever the case might be. But still a good strategy because it has some benefit. And you as a realtor can surely find tremendous numbers of properties with so much potential because you can see every day what's going on, what things are selling for, what's a good deal, whatever the case might be. And depending on where you're at, there are pockets all over. But it still goes back to one basic calculation. We talked about it in one of our earlier sessions, capitalization rate. When I'm going to buy an income property, I'm concerned about the cap rate. And with that said, let's take a look at this model. This was first, I think, put together maybe in a little bit of a different way by a man named Dave Delgado and another guy named Tom Vu. They both were doing real estate seminars years ago, infomercials, and in large coliseums, drawing hundreds of people. Most recently, this quadrant has probably been experienced and presented more by Bob Kiyosaki than anybody else in the last couple of years. But the point is, this is you. You maybe were an employee, but you moved yourself into the self-employed market by working as a real estate independent contractor. And that made a big difference in how much money you were keeping versus your job as an employee where they're taking money out of your check every month and you had no tax deductions. Now that you are self-employed, it's time to look at your entire model as a business. And as a business, what are you taking advantage of in terms of the tax strategies? As you build wealth, we know that if you avoid taxes like poison, you have more money for consumption or more money for investing. Because we basically consume, invest, and pay taxes. That's what we do. We basically consume, invest, and pay taxes. So if I want more money to consume or more money to invest, then I got to pay less taxes. If I want to find more money to invest, I can pay less taxes and be a better shopper, a better bargainer, a better negotiator for my consumption, whatever it is I'm going to buy. Whether it's my haircut or whether it's my gasoline or whether it's my utility bills, and everything is negotiable in this country. Everything. So look at this circle: consumption, investing, taxes. Take a look at your life and say, whoa, am I spending too much on consumption? Why am I paying 10 cents a gallon more than somebody else did for gas? Because I didn't want to cross the road to the other side where the gas is cheaper. Why did I buy that gallon of milk when it wasn't on sale? Why did I not turn my thermostat down and save 3% of my bill. For every 1 degree I turn it down, or if it's air conditioning, turn it up. 3% for every degree you change your thermostat either way. Excuse me, every 1 degree you change your thermostat either way saves you 3% in energy cost. Hear that? If I can turn my temperature down 5 degrees in winter or up 5 degrees in summer, I'm saving 15% on my utility bill. So we have timers, auto thermostats, but some people don't even use those. They got an auto thermostat and it's on hold all the time. So as a business owner, I'm looking for ways to keep my costs down. Now that you own a business, real estate, how are you using it to invest and take advantage of all the tax deductions? I'm going to throw out a couple of forms. One is Section 179. It's basically a way to cost out the stuff you buy for your office. If you want to buy a new iPhone 13 or a new Galaxy S22 or a faster laptop or better printer or shredder or multiple screens, or you want to take a course in a different state, all that is tax deductible. You're taking advantage of the tax breaks. And if you buy equipment, i.e., TVs, projectors, monitors, computers, new cell phones, speakers, all that can be expensed the first year. And then the kind of car you buy has some tax benefits. We still have within the IRS tax rules a potential huge deduction if you buy a vehicle that weighs over 6,000 pounds. So we have many SUVs that are over 6,000 pounds. In Wayne's World, if I'm going to buy an SUV, I'm not nearly as brand sensitive as I am weight sensitive. Last thing I want to do is buy an SUV that's at 5,950 pounds versus one that's 6,005 pounds. I don't care what the logo is. I care what tax benefits I'm going to get by driving that particular vehicle. So take a look at the car and truck expenses information in the IRS if you want some more detail on that. But then realize, in addition to that 179 deduction, all my other expenses. So as a wealth builder, I'm a card player. You win with aces. Pretty good chance if you got all aces in your hand, you're very rarely going to lose. In the long run, you're going to be winning. In the real world of wealth building, you win with aces. A wealth builder, at whatever level they're at, is filling out 4 schedules. Schedule A, Schedule C, Schedule E, and Schedule S by April 15th. They're filling out those 4 schedules. Schedule A is itemizing deductions. Schedule C is profit or loss from business or profession. Schedule E is rent and royalty income, and Schedule S is self-employment tax. Wealthy Americans, wealthy real estate agents, wealthy workers, anybody who's wealthy is filling out those 4 forms. And people that are not as wealthy are not filling out those 4 forms at every price point, at every income level. Doesn't make a difference. So go back and look at, am I maximizing my Schedule A? Am I maximizing my Schedule C? Am I maximizing my Schedule E? Am I maximizing my Schedule S? And again, as you do that, you hopefully start to avoid taxes. And one of the wealth building INCOME-MANDMENTS is avoid taxes like poison. So I personally almost always want to feel, before I spend money, if I buy this, if I do this, can I write it off somewhere on a tax return? That's kind of a weird philosophy, almost an obsessive compulsive disorder in some people's minds. But I hate to spend money if I can't write it off somewhere on a tax form. That's just Wayne. That's Wayne's World talking. Maybe you'll feel the same way. I like to know that I can write that expense off, whatever it is, whether it's an Uber ride, whether it's taking somebody out to dinner, whether it's buying a new sleeve for my laptop, whether it's buying a new light for my office. whether it's buying my car and depreciating it or taking the mileage per mile, whether it's upgrading some things in my car for my mini office, maybe a small printer that's portable and another laptop or whatever else I have. Maybe putting Sirius radio in, because when I take clients out, I like a calm music. Everything I buy is deductible because I am a business owner. But don't stop there. Now you got to start investing. And I just suggested 5 things: gold, silver, diamonds, real estate, and food storage. Now, your mix is your mix. But I will say, if you're going to buy gold or silver or diamonds, please don't buy jewelry grade of any of those. A gold necklace, a gold pendant, 14, 18, 22 karat is not pure gold. Why not buy a pure gold medallion, a Krugerrand, or a government coin where it's 99.9% pure gold? And now that piece of jewelry could also be an investment. And I do know today many people aren't wearing any kind of jewelry anymore because of the fear of somebody stealing it. So that world is different. But either way, investment grade hard assets are better than what consumers buy, whether it's a diamond. And you need to know some of the things about these hard assets. Some people don't know that 24 karat gold is different than 12 or 18 or 10 karat gold. And the price per ounce could be drastically different. Some people don't know even what a troy ounce is. And we know for sure people don't have much idea of diamonds. That diamond that went up 40% is a D flawless diamond. D is the best color. Flawless is the best clarity. We have the 4 or 5 C's of diamond buying: color, cut, clarity, carat weight, and certification. Color, D through Z. Clarity, flawless through almost pure black. Carat weight by how much it weighs. But certification. I would never buy a diamond as an investment if it wasn't graded by the Gemological Institute of America, GIA. So I'm throwing a lot of things out at you that relate to wealth building in inflationary times, because we are in inflationary times. I had no idea this would be the topic at this time of the year, at this time in discussions, in podcasts and places. But this is a hot button right now. People have to learn how to be the transferee of wealth during the next 18 months or so. And watch the Fed and watch all the factors that will contribute to making those hard assets the most valuable things you can do in the process. So as a person who has the ability to be an investor, because you own your own business, because you are self-employed, you've got much more control over things in the process. Even buying some rare artwork at a good price and putting it in your office. You now have an asset growing in value that looks good in your office. And there's probably a lot of artwork that's for sale. Some people use memorabilia. They buy something that they like from an actor, actress, celebrity sports person that becomes a focal point for their office. They can write that off. It's part of their office. So take a look at yourself and saying, am I using my money in a way that what I spend is going to be worth more later? Or am I spending money on things that are going down in value? Again, it's your choice. Now, one more time, just to review, you probably hear this almost every time I'm on, the 5 reasons why people don't build wealth, or in this case, the 5 reasons why people won't prosper from inflation. Just change the title a little bit, but the reasons are the same. What are 5 reasons why people in the next 18 months will not build wealth? Because they don't have enough real estate and other hard assets. But the point is, why don't they have enough? It didn't occur to them. It's the first reason, the awareness. People, I just gave you some ahas that I hope made you aware. Oh, I got to look at this. Oh, I got to check out that. I didn't know about diamonds. Oh, gold. Oh, food storage. Oh, yeah, I remember. I could have bought all that at that price. So I'm just making you aware. It didn't occur to me. once it occurs to you, when you get off this podcast, are you going to spend some time looking at the price of gold, price of silver, price of diamonds? You're going to spend more time focusing on buying an income property by the end of April, at least have an offer in. And we look in the shopping, in the grocery stores, what are some things that I might be able to stock up on that will probably be going up in value? Many things have. I mean, some people have seen food prices go up 10, 20, 30% in the process. Everybody's finding ways to cut some corners or make ends meet, as it's called in the process. But the key is, once it occurs to you, you got to decide to do it. You now have to set a goal. I'm going to buy X amount of ounces of gold every month through August. I'm going to buy X amount of ounces of silver. I'm going to buy X number, or I'm going to invest X number of dollars in investment grade diamonds that are D, E, or F color and no greater than very slight inclusion 1, VS1, because there's a lot of ranges on that. Just go online and look at diamond grading and look at the chart for color D through Z. Look at the clarity. Look at the cut. A round diamond has more value than any other shape of diamond because there's many other reasons why you can read about. I can only give you I guess you'd say, nudge to go out and look for something within these 5 elements to see which mix is going to be best for you. Now, you can put all your eggs in one basket and just buy all gold or all silver or all diamonds or all real estate or just stock up on food. In fact, the Mormons, as a religion, believe in 1 year of food storage. If you ever have the privilege of going to a Mormon home, take a look at what they have set up as a food pantry. They believe, very devout Mormons believe, 1 year of food storage. They have little mini stores in their basements or in their pantry rooms. It's big business. So the awareness is there. Then you got to set the goals. Then you've got to not procrastinate. You have a commitment to do this on a regular basis. Overall, my life centered around buying at least 2 income properties a year. Every year I'm a realtor. And it wasn't until recently, I'm not buying 2 a year, but I bought many, many more. So I'm still averaging way more than 2 a year since I've been in real estate. Because some years I bought 2 a month. But at this stage of the game, I'm ready to reap the benefits of all that passive income. And maybe that's why I'll start flipping all of a sudden. But in the meantime, I was aware, it occurred to me, I decided to do it, set specific, obtainable, written down goals. And here's the key. I want you to buy 2 a year. Do you want to buy 2 a year? See, a solid investment goal is specific. It's obtainable. 2 a year is obtainable. It's written down. People knew my goals. Some people have vision boards on the refrigerators in their offices. But most importantly, investing in real estate has to be something you want, not something somebody else wants for you. I wish I could just automatically wave the wand and you would buy 2 because you're listening to the podcasts. But I can't do that. But 2. Not 1, not 3, just do 2. Don't overwork it. Just do what you say you're going to do. I'm going to buy 2 a year, and I'm going to have 1 by the end of May and 1 by the end of August. Specific, obtainable, written down, something you want, not something somebody wants for you. The tax benefits for real estate outshines every other tax benefit of any hard asset. There are no real tax benefits for holding gold. In fact, in many cases, if you hold too much gold, you got to pay for storing it or have a safe at home so it's protected. Same thing with silver. And it's very heavy to move. Now, diamonds, you could hold on to $1 million worth of diamonds in your hand. Wouldn't take that long to have $1 million worth of diamonds. Put in a little pouch and have all places. But there's no tax benefits of diamonds. There's a little bit of tax benefit in food storage because I'm saving the extra tax. Now, in many states, we don't tax food, so there's no real tax savings. But if there's a 2 or 3 or 4% sales tax, and I'm paying 99 cents instead of $2.69, I'm saving maybe 3 or 4 cents. It's minimal, but I'm still getting some tax benefit. But if you have real estate, the tax benefits are overwhelming. Not sure what state you live in, what your laws are, but I know almost all realtors have to have a car. And obviously, most realtors like a nice car. One option is leasing. Yes, I can write off all my lease cost as a real estate professional. So at least if you're going to lease a car and you are a realtor, you get a much better bang for your buck than leasing car as a consumer. But more importantly, what about some of the other ramifications? Are you taking all the tax deductions on your Schedule C as a realtor if you do lease a car, in terms of writing off all the sales tax that year? And in some cases, it's very expensive. It's very expensive. But you as a real estate professional get tax benefits on the property you invest in because of something called the passive loss rules. And I'd like to maybe use that as our close down to compare. If you own investment real estate, you follow Schedule E, rent and royalty income. I'd recommend you do two things. Use both sides of the form. Have rental income and get some royalty income. Write a book. Publish something that you can sell, give away, and use as part of your real estate career. But if nothing else, at least get the Schedule E down. So I'm writing off all my expenses. Rent and royalty income. The key thing I can do as a real estate professional that another investor can't is I get unlimited passive losses against my income. A real estate investor that buys a property here, buys a property to somebody you sold something to, can only write off $25,000 of passive losses. Let's put that in perspective. Every $1 million worth of real estate, you can write off 3.6% or $36,000. I'm sorry, $3,600. 3.6%. No, I'm sorry, what, 36,000. I was right. Math's bothering me. Anyway, so now I own $1 million worth of real estate and you own $1 million worth of real estate. I'm a real estate professional. You're just an investor. That $36,000 of depreciation, you can only write off $25,000 of it. And every year, you only get to write off $25,000. I get to write off $36,000 because I'm a real estate professional. I have unlimited passive losses. And if another couple of years, I buy another $1 million, I got another $36,000. Now I can write off all the 72. You only write off 25 of the 72. So you are in the amazingly ideal position to avoid taxes like poison and have much of your income from real estate sales and commissions be wiped out by having this unlimited passive losses on your real estate investments. If you had $3 million worth of real estate, that's $108,000 you can write off. Your friend who has $3 million can only write off $25,000. They're not a real estate professional. Real estate professionals have unlimited passive losses against their income. And that's why depreciation is like the eighth wonder of the world if you're an investor, because it allows me to actually have an expense I didn't spend any money on. Yes, I can write off the gas I put in my car or the new TV I bought, but I spent the money. I didn't spend any money. The government says that you're using up that asset at the rate of 3.6% every year for 27 and a half years as a residential income property. They made that rule up. I didn't. I just have to follow it. So you have to feel that our main points today are based around you avoiding taxes like poison and capitalizing on an inflationary market where some people are going to get hurt. Their wealth is going to be transferred from them to you or somebody else. They got more money, you might as well get it before somebody else does. And so that's the fact of life we're in. 3 years ago, I wouldn't even be talking about this on a podcast. Wouldn't even entered my mind 5 years ago. All of a sudden, we got an issue that we had 40 years ago. And here's the key. Dr. Alexander Tyler said this years ago, those who don't understand history are bound to repeat it. So maybe you should go back and look at what we had in the 80s. Or better yet, if you want to see the value of assets, hard assets versus money, go back and look at the hyperinflation in Germany in 1922. There's actually video, old film of people being paid daily because wages are going up so fast and running down from work with a wheelbarrow full of money to a grocery store. And as they're running down, some of the money's blowing off and they don't even pick it up. But they get to the grocery store and now you'll see 8, 9, 10, 12, 15 wheelbarrows full of money. They run in the store and try to buy things before prices go up. It's called hyperinflation. Hyperinflation. And then they bought everything. They got to go out and pay for their groceries. So they go back outside. And guess what? There used to be 8 wheelbarrows full of money. Now, there's only 8 piles of money. People stole the wheelbarrows. The wheelbarrows are more valuable than the money. The hard assets are more valuable than the money. 1922 taught us that. That, my friends, is 100 years ago. We realized when there's inflation, the hard assets are worth more than the money. Hence, I leave you with this thought. Buying a hard asset, real estate, as your ideal investment should be a priority. Because that's what's going to be the beneficiary of wealth building. But you could also add the gold, the silver, the diamonds, and the food storage. But ideally, real estate is the inflationary saving investment strategy. Now, like anything else, you got to do your due diligence. If you pay too much, we got loads of people paying a lot more than they should for a house. Something's going to happen. Somebody's going to hold a hot potato. But in the meantime, real estate is your ideal investment. Why? 5 reasons. IDEAL. Income every month. Today's the first of the month. Guess what I'm happy about? There's money going into my bank account from direct deposits. There's checks they're going to be in the mail. I can depreciate those assets at 3.6% for 27 and a half years. I get equity buildup every time I make a payment. It's because the tenants are giving me money to pay the loans off. And today, I'm so pleased to say I have no mortgage loans on anything. I am totally debt-free. Been debt-free for many years. So now I don't get equity buildup anymore because I don't have things to pay up. But I do get appreciation. And I will get lots of appreciation in the next 18 months. And if I want to borrow more, I could leverage that. So as you begin your strategy, it's ideal. Monthly income, depreciation, equity buildup, appreciation, and leverage. And leverage. With that said, we'll talk about the 1031 exchange at some point in time. But for right now, I think we can call it a day. And I can exit my full screen. And I can say goodbye until next week. Hope you enjoyed your time.